Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video I'm going to talk a little bit about probably the most disrespectful thing that you can say to an entrepreneur. And the word surprises a lot of people that are entrepreneurial because they say it in passing to kind of address success that entrepreneurs might have. And that word is, can anybody guess what it is? The word is lucky. When you're a business owner and you start something from scratch, and I'm not talking about, somebody that may have taken over a family business, although that's quite difficult on its own, or somebody that goes into an established business channel like a realtor or somebody in multi-level marketing. But I'm talking about somebody who starts something from scratch. They conceptualize a business, they come up with a name, they come up with a logo, they come up with a website, they come up with a service offering, they identify niche markets, they come up with strategy to engage those markets, they go to market, they get the shit kicked out of them by the market as they're learning how to communicate their value effectively. Often they do work that they lose money on, they deal with shit clients, they get treated poorly, they lick their wounds, they put a smile on their face, but at night they're up worrying about how to pay the bills. This could go on for months, if not years, while people are sorting out their business model. So they get through all of that, and I should add that a big chunk of people who start a business end up quitting in the first year. I think the failure rate for businesses, I don't know if it's still this, it might be, but back when I started, the failure rate was 90%. So 90% of businesses didn't get past the first year. Given the pandemic and so on, a lot of businesses that have been around for decades are going out of business, and most people will tell you it's not a good time to start a business. But even in the best of times with good economies, the failure rate is 9 out of 10. So if we go back to what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, you're conceptualizing, you're bootstrapping, you're borrowing, you're what we say beg, borrowing, and stealing to keep going, using credit cards to finance rents, to finance staffing, to finance websites. All of this juggling goes around in an unbelievable amount of sleepless nights. I would say entrepreneurs in those first couple of years probably take 3 or 4 years off of their life due to stress. And some, like me, actually start to get addicted to the adrenaline rush of fear. All of this happens over many, many years, let's say 10, 15, maybe 20 years in my case, and you start to establish some pretty big market share. And then when you run into people who knew you in your previous life, me as a server, as a bartender, as a bouncer, working at BC Hydro, what people say is, wow, I see you've written a book and I see you have a big company and you've got all this stuff going on. You're so lucky. I fucking hate when people say that to me. You're so lucky. And the first thing I want to say to them is, luck. Luck is for losers. Luck is for people who play the lottery, hoping that 1 in 10 million chance they're going to win a bunch of money and not have to go to a shitty job that they hate. That's luck, right? Throwing the dice, playing blackjack, that's luck. Working 18 hours a day, being up in the middle of the night with your guts wrenching because you're worried about how you're going to pay your bills, almost losing your house, concerned about how to make car payments, not having a holiday for 10, 15, 20 years. That has nothing to do with luck. That is almost the mental illness of being an entrepreneur, is you are so driven for creating a better life for yourself and thinking that you have control that you forego many of the short-term pleasures in life for the long-term gain. And after you've made that whole sacrifice, people come up to you and they say, you're lucky. I'm not fucking lucky. I did the work. And if you did the work, you'd get lucky too. My dad used to say, when I get busy, I get lucky. And it's true. The more that you get out there and hustle, the more wealthy you become, the more successful you become, the more things you accomplish. What most entrepreneurs don't address is, for as many successes as I've had, which I've had a lot, I've had 10 times more failures. And the reason why I'm good at what I do is because before I knew what to do, I did everything the wrong way. And just by process of elimination, I found out what shit actually works and what doesn't. And so when somebody comes up to me and tells me I'm lucky, the venom starts to come in my mouth and I want to rip them apart. But instead, I often smile. And I smile because them saying I'm lucky gives them an out. They consciously or subconsciously know that they probably weren't prepared to pay the price. They weren't prepared to put in the 5, 10, 15, again in my case 20 years of getting shit sorted to the point where it got easy. And just by doing the reps, it gets easy, but the reps are painful and there is no luck with that. It's just fortitude, sometimes stupidity. You don't know any better. I mean, if I knew then what I knew now, would I do it? I don't know. Ignorance was bliss. But now coming on the other side, I know that people who say that I'm lucky and those that are successful are lucky simply have no idea of what it takes. So for those entrepreneurs out there, I want you to know that I know you're not lucky. I know that you did it of your own accord. And for those that would love to be entrepreneurial and think that you throw the dice and maybe it'll work out and maybe it won't, you are the best bet. And so betting on yourself is really the best bet you can ever make. Don't buy the lottery tickets. Don't go to Vegas. Don't do that type of stuff. Invest in yourself. And you'll see, you know, the days are long, but the years are short. And looking back in hindsight, thank God I made the bet, but luck had nothing to do with it. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can email me at Chris@Ghos CEO or put them in the comments below. And I will see you in the next video, not from the cottage, because we are about to pack it up for the season and head back to the big house for the next 9 months, hopefully, with the pandemic under control. See you in the next video.